Do you ever notice how your chest tightens just a little when you know you should apologize? Not because you don't want to, not because you don't care, but because saying I'm sorry feels like peeling open a part of yourself you've tried very hard to protect. Today I want to talk about why apologizing is so difficult, especially for people who feel deeply, love deeply, and hurt quietly. What if the hardest part of apologizing isn't the apology? What if it's admitting that you're human too? You rarely talk about this, but apologizing isn't just an act. It's a moment of nakedness. When you say I'm sorry, you're not just fixing a mistake. You're handing someone your ego, your pride, your vulnerability, and praying they don't break it. And especially for women, who carry so much emotional responsibility in relationships. Apologizing often feels like stepping into a storm with no umbrella. Have you ever said I'm fine instead of I'm sorry because the truth felt too heavy to speak? For many women, apologizing feels complicated because you've always been the one who keeps everything together. You're the emotional anchor, the mediator, the one who bends first, forgives first, heals first. And if you also apologize first, sometimes it feels like the world will simply assume you're always the one who's wrong. What if you're not avoiding the apology, you're avoiding becoming the bad guy again? This part is painful to admit, but apologizing can feel like surrender. Like you're giving up the last bit of ground you're standing on, especially if the argument hurt you too, especially if you weren't the only one at fault. Women often apologize to keep the peace, not because they were wrong. That leaves emotional bruises no one sees. How many times have you apologized just to stop someone else from hurting you more? Let's go deeper because this is where things get real. Growing up, maybe you learned that being wrong meant punishment, silence, withdrawal, coldness, or losing someone's love. So now, as an adult, apologizing can trigger that same old fear. If I admit I'm wrong, will they still want me? Some of us aren't afraid to apologize. We're afraid of what comes after it. Psychology says that apologizing activates the same areas of the brain connected to physical pain. Your body responds like you're being attacked. Your ego feels threatened. Your brain wants to protect you. When you hesitate to apologize, you're not being stubborn, but your brain is literally screaming, please, don't let me get hurt again. It's not weakness. It's your nervous system trying to keep you safe. Loving someone doesn't magically make apologies easier. In fact, it makes them harder. Because the more someone matters to you, the more terrifying it feels to risk disappointing them. Sometimes saying I'm sorry feels like walking toward someone holding your heart in both hands, hoping they don't drop it. If apologizing feels harder with the people you love, you're not broken, you're honest. Women grow up carrying emotional expectations. Be polite, be the bigger person. Don't make a scene, keep the peace. So yes, women apologize more. Not because you're wrong more often, but because you were taught that your value comes from harmony, not honesty. You were taught to fix the room, even when you didn't break it. Have you ever wanted to apologize, but every time you type the message, you delete it? Every time you pick up the phone, your hand freezes. This isn't weakness. It's emotional paralysis, a clash between your heart wanting connection and your fear wanting protection. Sometimes the apology forms in your throat, but gets stuck behind old wounds. This is the fear no one talks about. What if you apologize and they reject it? Or worse, they use it against you. Women especially fear this because once they apologize, they often carry all the blame, even when it wasn't just their mistake. It's not the apology you fear, it's the possibility that they'll say, it doesn't matter anymore. The truth is, apologizing isn't a weakness, it's a language of strength. People who apologize aren't weak. They're brave, they're self-aware, they're emotionally intelligent. An apology is not surrendered growth. It's choosing peace over pride, healing over ego, connection over distance. But remember, you are not responsible for carrying relationships alone. A real apology isn't I'm wrong and you're right. It's I care about us more than this argument. Let this sink in deeply. You do not need to apologize for having boundaries, for feeling hurt, for needing space, for not agreeing, for not being perfect, for outgrowing people, for protecting your mental health, or for saying no. These are not mistakes. These are survival skills. Stop apologizing for being someone who finally learned to choose herself. Here's how to apologize without losing yourself. Here's the emotional formula. First, acknowledge the feeling. Hey, I can see how that hurt you. Then, Take responsibility without shame. I didn't mean to, but I understand what I did. Express care, not guilt. You matter to me, and I want to do better. And finally, set a boundary. But I also need us to communicate in a healthier way. This is strength, not surrender. A healthy apology doesn't shrink you. It grows the relationship around you. If you're waiting for someone else to apologize, listen carefully. You deserve an apology that comes from sincerity, not from pressure, guilt, or emotional chasing. If someone never apologizes, it's not because you weren't worth it. It's because they weren't capable of it. And your healing cannot be held hostage waiting for someone else's accountability. You can't heal while waiting for someone who refuses to see the hurt they caused. Apologizing is difficult because it requires truth, and truth requires courage. So if you've ever struggled to say, "I'm sorry," I want you to hear this. You're not weak. You're not stubborn. You're not heartless. You are human. You are healing. You are learning. Sometimes learning hurts before it frees you. The next time you apologize, don't do it to shrink yourself. Do it to become a softer, stronger version of you. Thanks for watching.